Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick, and here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Welcome into Defeating the Curse. Week 1 has arrived, boys. Can we get a golf clap all around? Football has returned, which means the podcast has returned. I know that makes some people upset, but not I, and not Stevie, and probably not FP. By the way, interesting story. Right before we hit go and went live, these two discovered that they were Eskimo brothers, which is going to be a fascinating little twist here in a little bit. Hopefully we have some time and we can get into it. But
we need like a subscription content. That's subscription content right
absolutely there. That belongs behind a firewall, and there should be video. I hope. One can only hope. One can only hope and pray, Stevie, that we get there one day. But fascinating just twist right before we hit record. Somebody said something to somebody, and somebody else acknowledged that they may also know that somebody. It was very fascinating.
It's football. Come on,
it's football season. It's week 1. It's week 1. We kick off in about 3-4 hours from now. We get a great matchup tonight, which FP, I'm shocked to hear you're not that interested in, which is fascinating. It's only maybe the best AFC team and the best NFC team, but okay, whatever. Maybe you're not into that thing. Maybe you're looking for a who at who. We'll see. We'll get to that too. So. I'm hoping we can get to the Commanders first. Then maybe one thing you're looking for this weekend across the NFL, one game that you got your eye on, one player, maybe a rookie or a veteran, somebody that switched teams, whatever, from both of you. And then, Stevie, you kind of hit me with a wild card yesterday. Stevie's going through a rewatch of Ballers, which for anyone that's been a fan of this show, the DTC podcast, FP and I did like weekly breakdowns, if I'm not mistaken. We were really into that show. We tried to get the rest of these fellas in onto it, and it clicked a little bit. I think for some people, not so much for others. I think Matt the Met got into it, but Stevie's doing a rewatch here. Maybe Stevie, give me like, I don't know, like a 2-minute thing here. Like, how far into the rewatch are you? Is this your first time through it, or are you rewatching?
No, rewatching.
Okay.
2 seasons in, towards the end of season 2.
Is this like a binge situation for you? You're like
just
hammering through? Okay.
It's a binge. And
okay.
I mean, compared to House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, I mean, these things, you knock these out in like 20, 25 minutes. You get 20 minutes of The Rock, a couple minutes of Tracy. She's delightful. And you got Ricky Jarrett. Ricky Jarrett's the best character in the show. Okay. No. Prototypical wide receiver, trying to get paid.
FP, are you on Ricky? I'm on Joe. I think Joe makes the show. Joe makes the show. He's perfect. He's perfectly timed one-liners everywhere. He's great.
I think my favorite is actually the agent. Whoever plays the agent, Jason. I think he's actually my favorite because I feel like that's how all actual sport agents are. Where like it's just like a shake their head and they're like, "Are you effing kidding me?" And then,
well, he gets better as the series goes on, right?
Yeah,
they go like
more prominent.
The Texas linebacker kid or whatever. Like it gets better. You're not quite there yet, Stevie, but I'm going to join you in this rewatch, Stevie.
Do you know, okay, trivia, Ricky Jarrett, is it Ricky? Yes, is played by who?
Denzel Washington's son.
I had no freaking idea that Denzel had a kid who was an actor.
Who act, like, not just an actor, but an excellent
actor.
Very good actor.
He was in the Book of Eli. I didn't know that.
Yes. Although I get him and Michael B. Jordan confused a lot.
Well, you shouldn't.
I mean, there's a joke in there somewhere. But okay, all right. Let's get to the Commanders because I know I'm actually really excited about this, and it's the week 1 situation. I went back and looked at our predictions last year. Stevie, you had them at 8 wins last year. FP, you had them at 9. I had them at 14. So I was clearly way off. And this team, the defense, I know we talked about it. The defense, it's going to be worse. And Chase is an interesting situation with Chase, right? Like no one's talking about Chase. I don't think he's 4 weeks out. I think he's probably 6 to 10 weeks out. I don't know if you guys have a read on this. I mean, we're all kind of consuming the same local media here in bunches when it comes to the defense in particular, but I mean, Chase isn't going to play for a while. FP, I know this is something that you brought up, you and LP brought up as well. Like, if he's not there, what happens to this defense?
I think Smith Williams is his backup right now, and then I think you have like Hill or whatever. They're formidable. They're good enough, right? Like you really just need to make sure that Sweat plays at an elite level. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the league that don't have 2 elite edge rushers. So you could get by with that if Jonathan Allen, if Payne, and if somehow, some way our trash linebackers can decide to actually play sound football. It has nothing to do with Chase or his position. It has everything to do with Ron Rivera throwing the dice on bringing back Bostic and hoping Jamin Davis and Holcomb can figure it out, which I truly believe they will not figure it out. We will get torched almost every week right there, that position. And I don't know how Ron is going to get out of discussing that week in and week out.
I agree with you on that. And Stevie, I know you and I talked about this too. Like they didn't upgrade from a talent perspective pretty much anywhere on the defense. So what they're banking on is players playing better than they did last year with the same coaching for the most part, which is probably not going to be the best. And as FB just mentioned, there's a whole bunch of Jags filling in for no pun intended, filling in for for Chase until he's back. But the only thing I'll disagree with you, FP, on is it's not just a random player, right? This is a your second overall pick from 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago, whatever it was, and you need him out there. Like you need him out there, right? The Boo Birds will be out in force for this defense, and it's a compounding problem. And when he's back, if he's not 100% back and able to do something, it's just a bad.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Number one, for there to be Boo Birds, there's got to be people in the stadium. They also need to be cheering for the home team.
How many people do you think will be out there? 20,000?
The team's going to announce 72.
No. How many people? How many actual
Jaguars have a
human
small
butts
fan base
and seats do you think we will see?
There will be 7,852 Commander fans at FedEx.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
hold on. That's number one, that you're crazy. Number two, you just talked about Chase Young like he's Reggie White. Okay, the brother was on the field the entire season last season, contributed nothing. Okay, so
half the season, but I agree with you.
We already know the script they're going to write about him. He's going to miss the first 4 or 6 weeks. When he comes back, they're going to say he needs to get in shape. They're going to say he needs some time 100%. To adjust. The defenses, whatever. He's going to have a poo-poo season. We all know that's going to happen. FP just said there is a chance the defense steps up if every player on the defense ignores everything they've done in their entire career.
All your coaching. Yeah. Well, your boy Rizzo always says you are the back of your baseball card, right? These guys are exactly what they are, right? You always regress or return to the mean, always.
And the fact of the matter is you have 2 levels. There are 3 levels of defense. You have 2 levels of below average talent and historical performance on the field. You have terrible linebackers, and you have a DB, safety cornerback mix that's relying on journeyman William Jackson. That's got some young talent in Cam, but is nowhere elite or nowhere is going to step up against CeeDee Lamb and the Eagles guys.
Can they be 15? Can they be half? Can they be in the 15 to 20 range? Is the question for me.
They could, but there's no reason to expect that.
No.
What I'm saying is anything you claim.
You got them worse than that, FP? You got them like 25 or worse across the board?
I'm going to put more of the blame on JDR than I will put on the actual players on the field.
Come on, Joe loves some Trumper. Come on.
No. I mean, when you've spent as much equity as you've spent on this defense, for JDR to not figure it out or to still have.
Why are we still waiting on him to figure it out? Why is he still here?
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, if I have to see JSW or Sweat drop back in coverage, I'm going to throw a chair at my TV. Like, I understand sometimes schemes call for that, but you need to make sure that your defense is in the correct base call or whatever, and you need to have linebackers who are much more sharper or mentally with it than
linebackers are. I mean, they may be better off without them. They may just play like a nickel package all the time. Just a bit more DBs out there, basically.
Yeah, but I discussed that with LP. Like, we'll come out in a nickel package, and then all of a sudden we're gonna get gashed in the running game, right? Freaking Etienne for the Jaguars. Nobody knows what he's gonna do. He's probably gonna rush up 100 yards against us in the first half. All of a sudden we're gonna freak out. We're going to go back to a base 4-3. All of a sudden, your linebackers are weak. They're not going to be able to handle that. And then, boom, T-Law is going to start dinking and dunking over
ruining my day. Thank you so much. But yes, you're not wrong.
But come on. Let's get off the coaching. Belichick, Lombardi couldn't do anything with these guys.
Belichick's a bum.
It's
third podcast in a row, I'll say
it. You here for that? Were you here for that, Stevie?
Belichick's a bum.
Yeah. He's not. He believes Belichick is overrated.
It was all Tom Brady, and Belichick has done nothing.
It's all Tom Brady. Did you hear Tom Brady open his mouth and give the most bizarre press conference this week about the stars and the moons and the family and the kids and the water park and all this stuff? Everything except his wife.
When you're 45, you stuff hits the fan.
He sounded like an airhead, man. Like he sounded.
The CTE's creeping in. He's only been hit like 4 times.
That's not incorrect. And he's got look. We all play fantasy here. It looks like your boy Julio is going to get the tight end designation here, which is going to make or break some people's fantasy rosters. It's a very interesting little twist here. But anyway, let's go through this Commander schedule, and I want to do it quickly because man, it's depressing. Let's just go through it. You got the Jags in week 1 coming to DC. FP, is that a win or a loss or a tie?
It is a loss.
All right, FP's got him losing. Stevie, win or loss? Loss. I got him winning. All right. Then we go. Where are we going after that? We go. Commanders travel to Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. Detroit. I'm not picking it. I'm going first. I'm going to say this is a loss because I'm all in on Detroit after watching Hard Knocks.
Yep.
I shouldn't be up on this team, but they're very interesting to me. So I got them losing in week 2. FP, you got them winning or losing?
I have them losing. Same exact reason. Just the great discussion on Hard Knocks. We're
Stevie,
losing to that.
Hey, it ain't just us. The Lions sold out their season opener, standing room only. This could be the story of the NFL right there. They're clearly going to lose. Dan Campbell's going to rip Jack Del Rio.
Yeah. Okay, week 3. Eagles come to town. Eagles come to DC. I have them winning this game in an upset. Stevie?
Loss.
FP?
Also with a loss.
Okay, this is trending poorly. We got Commanders going to the Cowboys on October 2nd. I have them losing this game. Stevie?
I'm all out on the Cowboys.
Think Brunell and Santana. Come on, in Dallas.
I'm all out on the Cowboys. They'll sneak in a victory because they're 0-3.
You got them beating the boys. Okay, FP, win or loss?
Loss again.
FP.
Very slow start for the Commanders.
All right, then we got Titans coming to town. FP, do they win this game or do they lose this game? Hosting Tennessee.
I think we actually win this game.
Somehow, you just went on this diatribe about how they can't stop anybody running, and somehow they're going to stop Derek.
Have you not been a Washington football fan forever?
I know.
The most losable game on the schedule.
I know. Stevie, win or loss on this one? Tennessee.
They're going to lose, may throw in a sexual assault allegation against Dan Snyder around this point of the season.
Yes, this would be around the time when we start retiring jerseys and deflecting as much as we can.
Right after Military Awareness Month or whatever.
I have them winning this game. After that, Commanders will travel to Chicago to face the Bears. I have them winning this game as well. Stevie, win or loss against the Bears?
W. Bears are terrible.
FP, win or loss?
W as well. Okay, then we go from one NFC North rival or opponent to another. Packers come to town on the 23rd. I have them winning this game.
Of course you do.
Stevie?
Nope.
Loss. FP?
I'm giving it a win because we almost had them with Heineke. You would assume Wentz doesn't have the same mistakes.
We had them once upon a time with Kirk, but that's
I think we play okay against
the day. All right, we got let's see. We go from there. October 30, Commanders travel to Indianapolis. It's the Carson Wentz revenge game here, I guess. I have them losing this game in Indianapolis. Stevie?
W. I don't know who the Colts starting quarterback is.
It's
Matt Ryan.
It's a
W. 2 W's.
Okay. Wait. Okay. FP. Who you got? Win or loss?
That's a loss right there.
You've got them losing.
Mm-hmm.
Following week, Vikings come to town. Kirk's return to Washington, D.C. on November 6th. I have the Commanders losing this game. Stevie?
Loss.
FP?
I have a win. I think Kirk chokes.
You're such a homer. Commanders travel to Philadelphia after that. FP? In Philly.
That's a win. You don't lose to the Eagles twice.
Okay. Stevie, win or loss?
Loss. I'm all in on the Eagles.
Stevie has them as a loss. I have them winning this game as well. I have them beating the Eagles both times. All right, let's see where we go from there. Commanders go to Texas to face to Houston to face the Texans. FP, win or loss against the Texans?
That's a win.
Stevie.
Win. Who is their starting quarterback?
Davis Mills.
He should be in DC. Good. He's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So we got 3 wins. That's the first time I think we all agree on a pick. We have them all beating the Texans. Okay.
No, we agreed on the Bears.
Oh, yes, we did. You're right. Thank you. Okay. After that, we go to, let's see, the Falcons come to town. Stevie, Falcons, do they beat the Commanders at home? Yes or no?
No. Loss.
FP.
Win.
I have them winning this one as well. Commanders at Giants the following week. FP.
Win.
Stevie.
0 faith in the Giants.
Loss.
I have them losing that too. It's interesting. Okay. Back-to-back Giants the following week in DC. Stevie.
Win.
They play a home and home?
Yes, they do.
The hell's that?
Well, there's a bye. It's a December 4 and then December 18.
Oh, no. Back at home after a bye win.
So Stevie's got them winning. FP?
Win.
Me too. Win on that one as well.
FP's got them rolling into the playoffs here.
On the 24th, Commanders at 49ers. Stevie.
All in on Trey Lance. All in.
Oh,
okay, FP.
Lost all credibility. Lost, but definitely not because of Trey Lance.
I have them winning this one too. Okay.
Joe has them at 17 wins.
No, I don't. I picked some losses this year. Browns at Commanders, January 1st. Stevie.
Deshaun?
Maybe.
I think it is.
Commanders lose.
FP?
Loss.
I have Commanders winning.
And by that time,
team should not scare you. And then we end the season with the Cowboys, Stevie.
Big loss. By that time, we're playing guys. We're playing young guys. I mean, we punted on the season.
FP?
Lost to the Cowboys last game.
I have them losing that game as well. Okay, I don't know if you kept track, but I will give you. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 11 wins, which is it's pretty bad. Stevie, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. Yuck. FP, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins. So 5 for Stevie, 9 for FP, and 11 for me. That's really bad. That's not.
I think that kind of stands with how our fanhood goes.
Yeah, I guess.
Real life point of view.
It's a correlation to how many games I'm actually going to watch.
It's this team as the season progresses, it certainly gets harder and harder to watch. But in week 1, I think we're all watching week 1. I'm curious to see what his offense actually looks like. Jahan Dotson is listed as the wide receiver, right? He's the second receiver on the depth chart, which is interesting. It means they're going to hopefully work him in early. And I'm really interested to see what happens with Gibson. I think fantasy aside, he's got to figure out the fumbling thing. I mean, he's too intricate and critical to the team. He has to stay on the field. I
think the bigger headline is if Curtis Samuel is healthy, does play, and what he can do in a full game. If you can give me 50% of a Deebo Samuel utilization or trickery, that'll be very exciting to see. But
I mean, the funny thing about DC is I think JP Finley made this point. So it's not an original point, but we haven't even mentioned Carson Wentz. You mentioned Gibson, you mentioned Samuels, and we were so excited by what's his name, Fitzmagic last year. We were all in, and Carson Wentz is infinitely better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. And no one is talking about the fact that we have an above average quarterback for once in a generation. And so that to me is what I'm watching. What does it look like to have a quarterback, a
true arm talent
in burgundy and whatever colors that we've decided to choose, but
dark red and black,
all white. Yeah,
that's so bad.
No, I mean, I think the excitement for Fitzpatrick was more so because we knew it was like a 1-year rental. We knew he didn't cost us anything, and we saw how close we got with Heineke literally right before. So the excitement was trending up. And then the devastation of losing him, a whole season of Heineke, I think now we're like, well, anything is better. So we don't really care at this point, right? Plus the money that came into it with Wentz. I don't think nobody's eager. And I was telling LP this, the headline will be the end of this season who did more with what? Did Baker do it in Carolina? Did Mitch do it in Pittsburgh, or did Wentz do it here, or did Matt Ryan have a better season at Indy than Wentz did? Like, there's a lot of headlines after the year that can make you appreciate or hate Wentz way more. But right now, he just kind of has a free pass. Right now, the only expectation is don't suck more than Heineke. Like, that's the bar that's set.
But I don't think that's fair, because Wentz is not – he's not a career backup. He's not an undrafted, unrestricted free agent or like a practice squad guy. He was an injury away late in the season from being the MVP of the entire league with the Eagles. This isn't a guy who I think it's not fair that people just write him off like that. And frankly, there's a lot of these like preseason ranking lists that have him. He probably belongs somewhere between like 12 and 18 or somewhere in there. You could probably make a case, but some of these rankings have him at, behind like backups. That's not. I mean, to me, it's not credible. Like he is a starting caliber All-Pro who was, again, an injury away from being the MVP of the entire league. People, I mean, that was a magical run for the Eagles, and that Eagles team wasn't like overly stacked with talent. I mean, they had a reasonably strong running game, but they didn't have stud receivers to the level that you could argue that he's got right here now in DC. Is this the best receiving core he's ever had right now?
Definitely the best receiving core he's had. Probably one of the better pass protecting lines he's had, but also.
So he doesn't belong on the bottom of these rankings that have him 25th.
No, I'll agree that the hatred that Wentz gets from the media is completely out of left field, right? It's because he's anti-vax. It's because of all this other stuff. I think that's what's driving his stock down when it comes to media. As far as Commanders fans go, yeah, for some of the media people.
Stevie, we'll check in with our blue leading correspondent here. Are we still keeping track? What booster shot are we on now?
Hey, don't tell me you're not afraid of Dark Brandon, okay? Don't even tell me, okay? Don't even tell me. Hey, you're shaking in your boots for the midterms.
Shaking.
I
might start racking up student debt just because I'll get it absolved free of charge. We'll see.
Hey, don't hate the game.
But Wentz is
nice pivot.
Only quarterback.
Very nice pivot there, FP. Yes.
Wentz is the only quarterback maybe in franchise history that sniffed MVP discussion. Am I mistaken in saying that?
No, I mean,
has there ever been a quarterback?
Probably
No. Yeah. MVP. RG3 was a rookie. He wasn't sniffing MVP.
He was in the MVP category. He was in the MVP discussion.
It was him and Kaepernick and Russell.
All right. Okay. Let's. I'm not going to consider. RG3 was never close to winning MVP. He may have been discussed. Wentz was actually close to actually getting votes for MVP.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
I don't know how you have to go back as far as like Sonny to get MVP.
Hey, don't
Heisman.
Mark Rippon. Hey, bite your tongue. Okay, Rippon was slinging it in '92.
Brad Johnson probably was in that conversation too. He had a great season here. No,
MVP. We're talking MVP.
I don't think it was MVP. No. Listen, the reality is Sunday at 4:15 or 4:30. There's only. How do I say this? There's no way to know if you're a good team because you're playing the Jaguars. There's only the possibility that you're a bad team. But even if you win, doesn't say anything. Doesn't say you're a good team. You beat a bad team. So I think we're going to need to caution a little bit, certainly if they win, that rapid reaction of there's no way they can prove they're a good team on Sunday.
Well, frankly, then I love that argument, Stevie, and I actually haven't heard anyone else make that point, but it probably carries forward to the Lions as well. Like your first real opponent is the Eagles. Like leave the hard knocks aside.
Now, if you go 0-2 against Jags and Lions, the world burns.
That confirms they're a bad team.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm surprised, Jared Goff. That's going to be a good Lions team, well coached.
They've got good skill position. I mean, Goff to me is very much like Wentz. Like he's just kind of in the middle of the pack. He can make some throws. He has some misreads from time to time. He puts the ball in the dirt from time to time, but he's got some talent at skill positions there as well. Tight end, he's got a good one. At wide receiver, he's got at least a good one, and a running back, he's got two good ones. So, I mean, offensively they should be better, but again, the defense. I mean, if you can't stop anyone
They have the number 2 draft pick. Boy looks like the real deal.
I understand. Well, your boy I read this fascinating little stat on Sauce Gardner. I don't know if you guys saw this. So he plays for he was drafted by the Jets, I think,
right,
4th overall, or he was a high pick. I don't remember what number, but he gave up 0 touchdowns in his entire collegiate career. He didn't allow a single catch during the preseason,
right.
Which doesn't say a ton, except he wasn't even targeted one time. That is, and for the Jets, like they seem to find these corners from time to time. Very much, Revis Island, kind of part 2 here. I'm fascinated to see what the stat line looks like for that Jets defense and him specifically, just because there's so much hype around him. But just to pivot back here and maybe segue into another topic, do either of you have the Commanders in the bottom 5 teams? I want to do top 5, low 5. Maybe we start with low 5 here first. I don't have the Commanders in my bottom 5. Do either of you have them in your bottom 5? Stevie, where do you have them? Maybe let's get your list first if you've got it handy. I'm surprised. 5. FB, how close to the bottom did you have them?
I have them in like the 23, 24.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's somewhere. To me, my bottom 5 is like markedly worse than the Commanders. I'll give you my 5, and then let's compare from there. So my bottom 5, no specific order: the Giants, the Jets, the Bears, the Seahawks because of the quarterback situation there, and the Falcons. And out of that group, I would say the Falcons and maybe the Jets have an opportunity to get out of it the quickest. I'm curious to see what happens with the Jets, but I think for me, it's those are kind of the worst 5, and I think they're much worse than the Commanders. FP, who do you have in your bottom 5?
Seahawks, Giants for sure. I don't think the Giants are going to be well coached at all. So Seahawks, Giants, and then you go Bears, Jets, and Jags. And I only say Jags because they still have to prove it, right? So I think they're fantastic on paper. But until they can show that they can win more than 4 games in 3 seasons, they're just going to stay down there.
So you got the Jags maybe exiting that.
Yeah, the Jags will be the first to exit of the bottom 5.
All right, Stevie, who you got? I'm curious now.
I think it's similar. I got no particular order: Bears, Falcons, Jags, Texans, Commanders, and it holds in line with the Commanders' wins. I picked them to win 5. I think probably 4 of those games are against the teams I mentioned.
Yeah.
In my bottom 5, and I think the Commanders are on the cusp of last 5. They're the last team.
But the Commanders have gotten close to that 500 mark in the post Alex Smith time period with such terrible play, with backups of backups, COVID-ridden injuries across the board, and
tough
bad
schedule last year,
and tough schedule, and just subpar QB. Like we love Heineke, but let's be honest, it's subpar QB play. Yet somehow, some way, you finish relatively close to 500. Some of these teams that we're saying in the bottom 5, they can't get to 4 wins.
But I think the reality of the NFL is the difference between a 7-10 team or a 6-11 team. There's still 17 games, right? The difference between a 6-11 team and a 9-9 team is a 9-8 team is minuscule.
Right.
So
but the difference from a 7-win team to a 4-win team, I think that's much larger.
I'd rather win 9. I'd rather win 9 than 6, unless you're doing the draft thing. Then okay, maybe.
I'm just saying what could take a team over 6 wins to 9 wins is very little. You can't even see it. It's how the kind of chips fall. It's kind of how the ball bounces.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. But a 4-win team, right, plus or minus 1. Let's say everything's plus or minus 1. A 4-win team is much worse than a 7-win team.
Stevie, I don't disagree with you, but I think there's more nuance to it as well. Like the Giants are going to lose probably by an average most of their games. These teams, like the Seahawks. The Seahawks is a good example, right? The Seahawks probably going to lose by 2 touchdowns a week. Right. I don't think the Commanders are 2 touchdowns a week worse than their opponents. I don't. I think they'll lose maybe, but they'll lose, by a field goal. Look how many games last year they lost at either the last drive of a game to an opponent, and the year before that too.
It's like number of gut-wrenching losses.
Yeah, like at the gun or the last possession or last couple frames. Like they're good enough to hang, to be in a position, maybe if the ball, to your point, if the ball bounces their way, they can win a game that they're not supposed to, but they might also lose a game that they should.
I think that's a bottom 5. I mean, there's offense, defense, and special teams. There's only 3 facets of the game. I think that is it's a bottom 5 defense. And I think the offense, and I'm really worried about the offensive line, something we haven't even talked about at all. Everyone looks at the skill players and Doxson and Samuels and Gibson.
No, you're ranked pretty well on the O line. You're doing, your big boys are getting it done, right? And I think
better than 15.
I think Pro Football Focus has us as like one of the top 5 pass pro lines. And then as far as run blocking, I think you're top 10-ish, maybe. I mean, you have,
but your running numbers will be diminished if specifically if Gibson can't stay on the field.
Right, but this is also going to be the first time that Gibson gets to, any of our running backs get to line up with true deep threat.
Yeah,
on accompanying them, right? Like you have Terry plus Dotson plus Curtis plus an actual arm. Maybe week 1 they don't respect that, but by week 2, week 3, if we take 3 to 4 20-yard plus shots, you have to respect
if the offense can consistently get over 21, 24 points, they're going to be in a position to win some of these games, even with a bottom 5 defense. And Stevie, I agree with you. I think the defense is going to be teetering towards the bottom of the, but we saw the Chiefs almost win a Super Bowl with a bottom 5 defense, right? I mean, it can be done. And I'm not comparing the two, but offensively that is, but they'll be in enough of these games and they have enough bad opponents on this schedule that they should be, I hope, in the mix, like somewhere between your 5 wins and my 11 wins, right? Is somewhere right around, or 9 or whatever, right?
He's 9 wins.
Yeah, whatever. Exactly. So, okay, that was so low 5. It's a mix of Giants, Jets, and trash. What about on your top 5? FP, you got your top 5?
Yeah, I can give it to you. It's Rams, no particular order. It'll be Rams, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Chiefs, okay. Bengals, Packers. I'm dropping the Bucks out.
I don't know why the Packers or the Chiefs are in there. Okay, Stevie.
Let's do the ones I agree on. Bills, Rams, Bengals, Packers.
Why are you guys so high on the Packers?
And the San Francisco 49ers.
No.
Hey, what good has ever come out of sleeping on
Kyle Shanahan team?
Yeah, on Kyle.
Shanahan and a running quarterback combo. That's a good point, I guess. Okay.
The magic of 2012 will be recreated. And they got Debo. He's got toys to play with. Oof. And, hey, I will never go against number 71. See, I can't say nothing about the O-line for the Skin Commanders because number 71 ain't lining up at left tackle.
Commanders. Skin Commanders, Stevie. Yes.
Who is our left tackle, by the way?
Leno, I believe.
Oh, Jay Leno.
Charles, he's one of our captains.
Jay Leno, man.
He's actually really good too, Stevie.
No, but he signed a big extension. He's all about the money.
He's also very active on Twitter and does very nice things for the community.
No, you're thinking of his wife.
She's also on Twitter and does very nice things for the community.
Yes.
All right, I'm giving you my top 5. Bills, Rams, Bengals, Chargers, and Saints. I think people are sleeping on the Saints. The Jameis clip, please tell me you watched. Did you watch the Jameis clip where he was explaining how the human body is symmetrical?
I don't know. Somehow he said his wrist is connected to his shoulder and his shins. I don't.
The body language and the fluidity and his I couldn't look away. I watched that clip so many times, but yeah, I'm kind of high on the Saints. That defense is really, really, really good.
How are you high?
Is really, really, really bad.
It's a brand new coach with Jameis Winston. Nobody knows what Michael Thomas is going to do, and Alvin Kamara is or isn't suspended 6 games.
He's out for 6. But they get to beat up on the Falcons. They get to beat up on. I mean, the Bucks, yes, will challenge them, but Carolina's really bad. I mean, there's 4 baked in right there.
Carolina with Baker, you don't know.
I mean, honestly, that's one of the ones I'm really excited to see because I feel like that offense could be something special or at least something interesting to watch. But I'm kind of high on the Saints. I mean, they're the most likely to exit the top 5, probably heading into week 2. The Chargers also. Chargers, we had this conversation many times last year. I think this could be the year that they make a little bit of a step forward. I'm not big on the Chiefs personally. I think people are undervaluing the effect of someone like Tyreek being gone. I mean, MVS is not going to go catch the ball the way that Hill did. He's not going to be able to do it. And frankly,
there's too many weapons. Just like you can't sleep on a Kyle Shanahan team. You can't sleep on an Andy Reid team, right? You still have Mahomes. It's still Andy Reid led. You still have Kelsey. MVS is there.
I don't think they're better than the Bengals, and they're definitely not better than the Bills.
If Juju Smith-Schuster can do what he did with 40,000-year-old broken-armed Ben Roethlisberger, who knows what he can do with Mahomes? Yes, Tyreek was amazing, but there's still a lot of love for him.
Do you have them higher than the Bengals? Do you think they're better than the Bengals today? Right
no,
now?
I would put them at 4 and Packers at 5.
Yeah, and why are you both so high on the Packers? Is this the Aaron effect, or is this something else? Because you would imagine that offense is going to take a step back without Devonta.
I think third year in this offense, right? Third year in this offense, plus just Aaron Rodgers always having a chip on his shoulder. You just can't bet against him. You can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. Like, I can take out Tom Brady, who I think is falling off this cliff by week 5, week 6 of old age.
You think it's done? This is it?
I think he has half a season of elite, and then it falls off sharp.
You think? I mean, there's no way we see him retire halfway through the season, right? You think he'll play it out?
No, it'll be like the final act of Peyton, right? Where maybe the team carries him, but it's shell of himself.
Okay. Stevie, is there one matchup that you're really looking forward to this weekend? Or I mean,
oh man, I
was surprised. I was surprised when we were getting ready to go here, and I threw out tonight's game, and neither one of you were really excited about it. It's a great matchup to start the season.
I got to show you. It's a good silence for the Queen.
Moment of silence for the Queen. But
they got a new king. Come on.
It's Princess Di's oldest, right? The one that didn't run away from the family.
King Charles III, I think is his name. Nobody cares. Come on, this is good news.
I care about royal weddings. Talk to me when there's another one of those.
That might be the most basic thing you've ever said.
What do you want? You want?
I mean, what are you watching? Are you looking forward to seeing Russ go back to Seattle or Baker face his old team? I don't really care so much about that one. I'm curious to see what the Panthers actually look like. Not so much the rematch. I mean, I don't know. Is there something that caught your eye? Are you, Lions opening up after Hard Knocks? I don't know. Tonight's matchup to me is probably the best one of the weekend. I'm surprised you guys are kind of sleeping on it a little.
So I'm actually the most excited I am is Raiders Chargers, because you have that game last year where neither team wanted to win, right? They just kept going and going and going, and you needed the overtime loss or whatever. Like, you had all that news. Neither team really wanted to get that W to get into the playoffs. And then just seeing what the Raiders can do with Devontae Adams, with Waller, how Carr can step up if he truly gets to like a top 5 elite QB move. I mean, he loves his deep shots. It's the post John Gruden era, like for a full season, full off season. I'm interested to see how they do against a Justin Herbert and a potent Chargers offense.
I mean, that one I'm looking forward to. I love the time slot that it's in too, but I like the idea of the Patriots going to Miami. I'm excited to see what Tua and Tyreek kind of look like, and what that. I mean, if the weather cooperates, if it's all rained out, then I probably won't tune into that or really care that much. But I'm also looking forward to Bucks at Cowboys. I think that's the second year in a row we get that to start the season on a Sunday night. I think we will learn a lot about one of our division rivals in the Cowboys, and we will learn a lot about that Bucks team right away. I think when you see Brady with the full complement of the offensive weapons that are now in place, we'll know whether they can do it or not. And the Cowboys, for better for worse, still a good defense. I mean, it should be a top 15, 12, 10, 7-ish defense, maybe even better if they stay healthy and they really find a rhythm. But that one's got some really interesting firepower on both sides of the ball. The Bucks defense should be worse this year than it was last year. So it'll be interesting to see if Dak has any, how they deploy like CeeDee Lamb, and what's left of Zeke at this point. Like, there's a lot of questions I think get answered during that Sunday night game, and I like that. I like that matchup to kind of end the Sunday run.
Yeah,
there's also one hidden game you're missing too.
Wait, don't say it. I'm going to say it. Oh, damn you!
Go. I didn't say it. Take it.
I thought I heard you say it. Bucks Cowboys, I think, will be a great. It's going to show you the pecking order of the NFC very, very quickly, and that'll be a good gauge of where things are at in the NFC. I think the most exciting game of the week could be in that same time slot that FP was talking about, Raiders-Chargers, but I think could be a shootout, Kansas City, Arizona. And I think I'm dying to see Juju with Mahomes, see what that looks like. Kyler Murray off the big contract. I think it could be just the kind of guns blazing opening week,
40-45 game. Yeah,
exactly. I think it could be really fun to see both those guys go at it, and potential early MVP look at Kyler and Mahomes. See what Mahomes can do without Tyreek too.
Well, Mahomes, the cute stuff in the pocket, he's got to get away from that stuff, right? I mean, we saw a lot of that last season too. So
yeah, but if it works, it works. And I think Juju is even better in the slot than Tyreek was.
He's got to get away from his brother. It's different.
Yes,
that's
and
different.
his brother still like dancing on the internet, or is that only during football season?
FP's he doing that on the gram? I don't know.
That's the TikTok generation. I don't follow those.
I love how every half generation hates on the one right after it.
I'm what they call a geriatric millennial. I can't do it.
Do you guys want to? I mean, do you have a team that you really think is Super Bowl bound? I mean, everyone's really hot on the Bills right now. I mean, the only thing that they needed to upgrade this offseason was their middle linebacker like position, and they did with Von Miller. I mean, that team is as complete as I think we have seen in a long time. I'm really buying into the Bills hype. Is there any other team that you just look at and you're like, hey, this team is really, really good? Just a level above everyone else.
I think you have to go back to the Bengals because they addressed their biggest weakness, which was offensive line and how much Burrow was getting destroyed. They went out, they did exactly what they needed to do. They shored up that O-line. So then now what's stopping them? I mean, solid running back, solid QB play, one of the best wide receiver rooms. I mean, the Steelers aren't what they used to be. They can easily get out of that division. I don't think the Browns will compete. I don't think the Ravens and all their Lamar drama competes. The Bengals
he's going to shut down the drama apparently tomorrow. He's given the team till Friday. I don't know how I feel about him negotiating his own contract. I kind of like it.
Russell Wilson screwed him over by accepting his contract with Broncos.
Why does that hurt him?
Because, I mean, Russell Wilson essentially said
the market's at whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, Russell Wilson has the resume. What does Lamar have?
I think it's hard.
MVP? One MVP?
I mean, he is that offense, right? I mean, there's no. I guess you can make the same argument for most quarterbacks, but yeah, I mean, okay. So you're high on the Bengals. But they're
Very
not.
high.
They're not better than the Bills. Someone's gonna have to take on the Bills and knock them out for the Bengals to sneak through.
I don't think they're better than the Bills, but I think it could be.
I mean, the league changed the rules. The league changed the overtime rules for the Bills, right? Because you can't have that happen anymore, right? So I don't know. I think on the NFC side, Stevie, if you have one, jump in here. But I'm actually I'm very interested to see what the Vikings do as well. Like there's a lot of hype on that offense too. Like if Dalvin's healthy and if Jefferson's healthy and if Kirk can Kirk his way through.
Kirk will always be 500. That is a guarantee.
What do you want from Kirk?
I think he's going to pile up wins on a softer schedule, and I think they might be in a position to do something more interesting than usual.
He does get KOC, so he actually has a new coach and coordinator that likes him.
But this is it for him, right? There's no. I believe he's a free agent after this season. I think this is the end of the run.
Wait, AOC is a hot Latina, man. What are you talking about?
Get out of politics. I said KOC.
Okay.
He hears what he wants to hear, FP. He hears what he wants to hear. Should we talk about the thing we were going to talk about before, or should we leave that for after the show? Okay, well, Stevie's giving me the finger. It's time to wrap it up. Any final thoughts, Stevie? Any one thing you're watching out for tonight?
Let's enjoy this night.
Yes, welcome back football. FP, how about from you? Anything from you as we wrap up?
It's going to take a lot to bring my hopes back up after we lose to the Jaguars.
I mean, it's not going to be pretty for anyone, to be honest. If we lose this week, I'm with you on that. They have to find a way to win this. They have to.
It needs to be a win-win, like a 28-6 win. Don't give me 14-12.
Yeah, and they have to do it, because if you think the attendance is bad in week 1, just wait to see what happens when the Eagles come to town 2 weeks later. September 25th could be literally a sea of moldy green jerseys everywhere.
Especially if it's 0-2 versus 2-0, which could very easily happen.
Okay, well, let's put a bow on the show. Thanks for making time. Stevie, thank you for making time. We did our top 5, our low 5. We're all watching Bills and Rams tonight. Should be a great one. Welcome back, football. Welcome back, podcast. Thank you, boys, for making time. Until next time, my name is Joe. Thank you, FP. Thank you, Stevie. Show can be found on every streaming platform, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google, Apple, Podbean, TuneIn, you name it. We are there. Just search for DTC or Defeating the Curse. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube if you want to watch the show live. We're always happy to engage with anyone that has any comments or questions for us. But until next time, we are out. Welcome back, football. We will see you later.